Well, you know what? It just seems to be when, the Canadian Open just has all of these, hardships over the last few years. I mean, we could talk about it over and over and over again. I mean, from the status of what the Canadian Open used to be to what it sort of has become. And RBC's done everything in their power to make this, if you want to call it, you can't call it an elevated event, but we'll call it an elite event. They sort of pulled it off again with just a great story. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. If you weren't jerking back tears, when that final putt went in and, Bob and his dad and getting to share that moment together is pretty special in the game of golf. And RBC was able to pull it off with a great story because really the field was probably one of the weaker fields that they've been able to pull together over the last few years. No Scotty Scheffler, no Justin Thomas this year. The field really came together heading into Sunday.
Well, where they are on the lineup is always a problem. They're right in front of the Memorial now, and then the U.S. Open the week after, I guess. So there's nothing they can do about that, right?
Well, other than getting moved, getting promoted to an elevated event, Memorial being elevated, and sandwiched between the PGA Championship, and then guys are preparing for the major at Pinehurst. So, I mean, yeah, it's a horrible scheduling date. I mean, the only thing that fixes it was really to make it an elevated event that attracts the guys to show up. But all in all, the story was great. Unfortunately, just because of the position it's in, I'm sure the viewership was pretty low.
Could RBC throw extra money at it and elevate it?
No, they can't. The PGA Tour policy doesn't allow that. So,
Right.
I mean, that actually did come up a couple times in the past. I can't remember the tournament. I want to say it might have been like San Antonio or something like that. I remember that was it Sanford, the guy who went to prison for, he was sponsoring, he wanted to put an event together and make it like a $20 million purse, and tour policy doesn't allow that.
Should it, do you think?
I don't know. I think then we're treading into, live discussions again week
Right.
in and week on the PGA Tour where, the most money wins. And I think we got to keep that under ropes. And, I don't think that would be good for the game because that would be the end of quite a few tournaments. I just don't see how an event like a John Deere or the event in San Antonio, for instance, are going to be able to keep up with those big markets. They get priced out of the game ultimately.
Yep.
What'd you make of the golf course? Because at times it played hard until that constant rain on Sunday. And trust me, I was in my garden. It was constant rain.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they pulled it off. It's unfortunate because, I mean, this has happened a few times now. When you're looking at these great old traditional golf courses, you're not going to get 3 or 4 inch rough out there because the members aren't going to permit that to happen, just from their playability heading in and the cleanup afterwards. So you can understand that. This is not a U.S. Open where ultimately the members give up the golf club for an entire year in preparation of the event. They really give up the club, for 2 or 3 weeks heading into the event to get it prepared. So, when you get those old golf courses like St. George's and Hamilton, where they become soft, the best players in the world just absolutely murder it. It's, the schedule date isn't helping either. I mean, we know that dry conditions in, Toronto and southwestern Ontario are not, conducive to having dry, hot conditions, the first week of June. So anyways, let's just call it what it is. And, the best players in the world went out there. It becomes a dart contest and it becomes a golf contest. You put firm, fast greens out there around Hamilton and I've played them that way, it becomes a completely different golf course. St. George's would have been the same thing. So, but again, I've kind of retracted a little bit of this 25, 26, 29, 30 under par. Who cares? Really? I mean, I think we want to see that sometimes in a U.S. Open. We want to see the players struggle very much like we did. We watched the women play, this week at Lancaster Country Club, and the women struggled. It was firm, it was fast, and you know what, 4 under 1 or something like that. I think there were only 2 or 3 girls shot under par. So that's what you want to see around a test like that. I don't think we want to see it week in and week out, but I thought Hamilton looked fantastic. Players loved it. They raved about it. Firmer, faster conditions would have definitely improved the scoring.